Yeehaw! This is delicious. Well, I got the horses in the back. Maybe after. I see you're ready, so let's go. Hello, my name is Justinia Miller, and today we're going to talk about the naughty stories of the Decameron and the art it affected in the 14th century Italian Renaissance. So, the Decameron was written in 1348 by Giovanni Boccaccio in Florence, Italy. During this time, 50% of the population was dying from
the plague.
It was a morbid time. People were dying left and right. So Boccaccio said, YOLO, I'm just going to write a very not safe for work book so I can cheer up all my friends. Or what's left of them, while we're still alive. Boccaccio gets to work and creates the Decameron. So the story is about 10 friends who are sick of all their friends dying from
the plague,
and get together for dinner for 10 days and tell each other one story each. Boccaccio is considered the champion of youthful passion and rebellion against parental authority when it comes to sexual behavior. His tales consist of naughty friars, two-timing women, jealous husbands, quick-thinking wives, and lots of double entendre. Yeah, I got you. So it was 10 friends telling 10 stories during 10 days. That's 100 stories altogether. Yes, I'm glad you passed 3rd grade math. Anyway, unlike most of the people now, like yourself, back during
the plague,
education wasn't so accessible, so a good amount of people were like 19 and couldn't read. So a lot of things had to be illustrated. Like, they would illustrate scenes of the Decameron on bedroom furniture as a private guide for all social classes. Ooh la la. Specifically, the Decameron was a major source for cassoni paintings. A cassoni is a marriage chest that was given to the bride on her wedding night, that were meant to 1. Hold things like a box, and 2. Illustrate the aspects of the moral code to which women in the Renaissance were expected to conform to. So if the Decameron was a naughty book, why would it be used for these paintings? Well, the way Boccaccio addressed the issues of marriage, love, and adultery made the many stories of the Decameron appropriate decoration for the marriage chest. Like, they'd use the stories of Griselda and Nastigilo degli Onesti to show the necessity of a woman's obedience and virtue and chastity, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let me just get to the story of Griselda. There was this royal guy named Guillotieri, and he was like, I'm going to test how loyal and patient my wife is. So I'm going to say, oh, sorry, hon. I just killed both of our kids. I know we've been married for 13 years, but yeah, I saw this hot girl down at the market, and I was like, damn, she's fine. Anyway, I called up my buddy, the Pope, and he annulled our marriage. So I'm going to need you to leave now and go back to your dad's house so I can marry that hottie down at the market that I mentioned before. Oh, and hun? Yes, my love? Be a doll and don't take anything on your way out, including your clothes, 'cause they're not yours anymore. Okay, dear. Psych! I'm just joking with you. You passed my test. You are the perfect wife. Oh, and the kids are fine. They're in the closet. Oh, that's a good one, babe. Always spicing things up. Mwah, mwah. Huh. That's wild. So yeah, that story shows up a lot on these cassoni chests to remind the brides to be loyal and patient. For example, These Cassoni paintings, like in the story of Griselda by Apollonio de Giovanni, depicts how they narrated these stories by repeating the characters in the same painting to show the narrative flow. If you want to analyze really hard, notice how in the Cassoni panel by Pessalino, also called The Story of Griselda, flows from the urban architecture to the royal mountain space, which is supposed to represent the culture/nature dichotomy that is representative of the male-female power dynamic in the patriarchal society as seen in the Decameron. Now, Cassonis themselves are also important because it's not just one thing to hold a painting with a lesson in it. Some stories in the Decameron, the Cassoni is a key narrative element. For example, the Cassoni chess plays a big role in the story of Ginevra. How so? The story goes that a merchant from Genoa named Bernabo makes a wager with Imbroglio regarding his wife's fidelity. Imbroglio was like, "I'm gonna trick Bernabo that his wife isn't faithful by putting these men's clothes into his wife's Cassoni." And Bernabo was like, "Mamma mia, my wife is clearly sleeping with another man. I order you, servant girl, to go and kill my unfaithful wife." And Ginevra was like, "Oof, yeah, please don't kill me. My husband is crazy. I'm gonna leave. Don't worry. I'm gonna go work for the Sultan disguised as a man." While working for the Sultan, Ginevra discovers Imbroglio's plan and asks the Sultan to have a meeting with Imbroglio and her husband Bernabo. Imbroglio gets #exposed, and Ginevra reveals that she is alive and indeed not a man. Imbroglio is killed for his crimes, and Ginevra returns home with her husband. Moral of the story is that husbands should trust in their wife's fidelity and honesty. So this shows that the lessons on the Cassoni for the married couple can also be directed to men too, as seen in the painting In the Tale of Ginevra, Bernabo, and Imbroglio panel by Toscani, where we see narrative flow in the repeating of characters again. I gotcha. But wait, I thought that the Decameron was supposed to be raunchy. Tell me a dark one. I see you. Okay, here's one. So, in the story of Zeppa de Mino, Spinalocchi Tavina, and their two wives, is centered around one of the most common themes in the Decameron: adultery.
Oh, yeah.
Side note, in this story, and in many other Decameron stories, adulterous relationships, they resemble a normal romantic relationship by modern standards, because back then, the majority of marriages were arranged as alliances between families. So the spouses had to look outside of the marriage for lovers, for emotional and physical fulfillment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyway, so get this. Spinalocchio and Zeppo are neighbors, and both men are married to these beautiful women. Spinalocchio is having an affair with Zeppo's wife, which he soon discovers. So Zeppo is like, "In order for me to get revenge, I'm going to invite Spinalocchio over. And when he comes over, and then I will lock him inside my Cassoni. Ha 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 ha. Now here comes the good part. I'm going to now invite Spinocchio's wife over." When she arrives, Zeppo takes Spinalocchio's wife into his bedroom and locks the door behind him and tells her of the affair going on between his wife and her husband, and then his plan for revenge. Spinalocchio's wife agrees to make love to Zeppa on top of the Cassoni where her husband is imprisoned below. After they...
Oh, yeah.
Zeppo says, "Oh, wifey, can you come in and open the Cassoni?" Zeppo uses the keys, and surprise, it's Spinalocchio. The gang has a good laugh and agree to share wives for the rest of their lives. Fun fact, keys are the phallic symbol in Renaissance art. So when Zeppo's wife holds the keys to the cassoni, it shows that she has the sexual power. So instead of who wears the pants in the relationship, it's who holds the cassoni keys. I see. The story depicts the general attitude in the Decameron. Adultery, it's a natural and expected part of marriage back then. All in all, Giovanni Boccaccio's The Decameron shows the righteous and sinful ways of humans through the telling of short stories. The sense that life was fleeting and that every happiness should be seized due to
The plague.
has led many Italians to seek solace in art and literature. The elite were eager to enjoy the pleasures in life and hired many artists to paint secular subjects like the Decameron. Yes, religious topics were still popular, but now there was this new fascination with secular themes that can be seen by Botticelli, who painted both religious-themed work such as the Madonna and the Magnificat, or his secular masterpieces such as Primavera. And therefore, the Decameron and the mini cassoni chest inspired by it are credited with developing the Italian Renaissance as we know it.